Hello, welcome back. In this segment, I will talk about some details regarding the gets function, which is part of the standard C library. As you can see, I have this little program called main, which calls the echo. Echo has a local buffer of size 4. It reads input from the user and then it echoes. This is a classical buffer overflow vulnerability because the gets function, as you can see, is only taking a pointer to the array, which is essentially the address of the 0th elements of the array. But it has no information regarding how many elements are in the array. It has no information that there are only 4 elements. That is not passed to the gets function. Okay, so if you just compile and run it, right? For example, you just compile it like this, and you will get a warning, a couple of warnings, but in this case, the most important one is that the gets function is dangerous and should not be used. Okay, so let's say we ignore this warning, and I'll show you some things here. Okay, let's see. Gets, it's waiting for our input. As you can see, this input is given, and then the same input is echoed back to the user, and the stack smashing is detected. Okay, so this is a buffer overflow problem. Now let's talk a little bit more about gets in detail. Let me start with simple input first. Let me show you how to use a pipe to send data to gets. Okay, so let's say echo A. What is echo A? Echo A will just echo it to the user. If I say AB, AB. But you notice that there's a new line here, AB, and then the prompt starts on the next line. Yeah, this is my prompt. It starts on the next line. That means a new line is inserted by echo. If we don't want a new line, you could also very well say to echo, don't emit a new line. Then you can see my prompt is on the same line as the input. Okay, so why am I saying this? Let me now feed this echo thing into my program, right? Test buf program, and you can see it's showing me AB, but there's a new line. Yeah. What if we go here and remove the new line? We still have a new line here. That's because when we did echo minus n AB, right? What happened when you did echo minus n AB? You didn't print the new line, but the data is ending. The end of file is reached essentially. So what gets is doing is it's replacing the end of file by a new line. That is the reason why you're getting a new line here. After printing AB, you get a new line. Okay, so there is an implicit new line added by gets function based on the end of file terminator. Okay, so that's the very first thing. We can also do one more exercise, right? We can also write this to a file, right, very quickly. And we look at the file, you have AB in one line. What if I just call cat command and cat, and then I send it to test buffer, right? AB is printed with a new line in this case. New line is coming again, right? Although the file doesn't have a new line. All right, we can see that the program is smashing the stack when we have more data than what the buffer can allocate. That's not a surprise. That's standard buffer overflow problem. Let's go back to this T, right? And inject a new line here. What happens now? We only have one character, the first line. What is the reason? The reason is that as soon as the new line is hit, the program stops reading data afterwards. So let us do this way. Let us echo with no new line, right? A lot of data. And there's a reason why I'm putting E is I'm going to put an escape character hex, right? Hex for hexadecimal. New line is 0A in hex. And now we don't expect a buffer overflow. No problems, because nothing is read afterwards. Let's say I am going to add a few more characters. Nothing is crashing because the new line is the delimiter. It will replace the new line by null. So anything after new line is discarded essentially. Therefore, there's no buffer overflow in this case. Okay, this is the problem. Echo is still sending the entire data though, just to be clear. Echo is not filtering out the new line. We can see if I do like this, AAA, yeah, and then BBB, you're getting this because of this. This is a new line character. We are putting a new line here, 0A, okay. We can also introduce null here. Null character will also be shown. We can do dex. You can see here, 4 A's, 3 A's rather. This is for these 3 A's, and then a 0 is null, and 42, 42, 42. If we feed this to the program, right, to our test buff, tag smashing detected. What could be the reason? Because the gets function reads until either new line is hit or the end of file is reached. Okay. In this case, it is reading beyond the null position. That's the reason why it crashed. So it's not stopping right after the null. Okay. All right. As you can see here, gets can read beyond null bytes. The only thing you need to be clear about is that either the end of file is reached or the new line is reached. Then only it will replace that by a null. If the input itself has a null, it will continue reading it until EOF or the new line is reached. Okay. So that's the main purpose of this demo. I hope you find it useful. Thank you.